Ambassador Elena Chen kept her composure as the massive council chamber erupted into murmurs. 3 centuries of human diplomatic service ended with a single declaration. The ornate hall of Centauri Prime, with its soaring crystalline arches designed to accommodate beings from 1,000 worlds, suddenly felt suffocating. "You cannot be serious," said Delegate Vorn of the Thalassian Empire, his scaled crest flaring crimson with agitation. "Humanity has been the cornerstone of galactic mediation since your species achieved interstellar travel." Elena straightened her formal blue diplomatic uniform. "We have tried for decades to warn this council about the quantum rifts appearing near the galactic core. Our scientists have provided extensive evidence of the danger, yet our reports remain unread, our warnings dismissed as human alarmism." The 12-limbed Acrux Secretary General Tilak adjusted his translation device. "The Council has existed for 50,000 years. We have survived numerous cosmic anomalies without the need for hasty action." "That is precisely the problem," Elena replied, placing a data crystal containing humanity's final research on the central podium. "You expect the universe to behave as it always has. Humans know better. Change is the only constant." The myriad representative, a shimmering cloud of connected consciousness contained within a mobility field, pulsed with blue confusion. "We do not understand. Your species' input has been statistically valuable in resolving 97% of major disputes." Elena smiled sadly at the compliment hidden within the cold calculation. "And yet you never asked why. You never wondered what makes humanity different. How we can see connections between your rigid positions that you cannot see yourselves." As she turned to leave, the Luminarch ambassador, a being of living light, floated into her path. "Please reconsider. The theology of many worlds considers humanity's balanced perspective a divine gift to the galaxy. Then perhaps it's time the galaxy learned to appreciate that gift," Elena said quietly. "We came as equals, served as peacemakers, and leave as the ignored. You have our findings on the quantum rifts. I suggest you read them before it's too late." On her shuttle returning to Earth, Elena watched the gleaming spires of Centauri Prime diminish through the viewport. Her communication device chimed constantly with urgent messages from 17 species representatives. They understood what the Council's leadership did not. Without humanity's balanced perspective, something essential had been removed from the galactic equation. President Okafor greeted the returning diplomatic corps on the landing pad in Geneva, Earth's capital since the unification. "Did they understand our position?" Elena shook her head. "They believe we'll come crawling back within months. They still think of us as impulsive children." "Then they've learned nothing from 3 centuries of partnership," Okafor said, looking up at the stars barely visible in the daylight sky. "Perhaps they need a practical demonstration of our value." Neither of them realized how quickly the carefully balanced cosmic order would begin to unravel. Admiral Kaido Zhang frowned at the tactical display floating above the situation table in Earth's monitoring station. The holographic projection showed Thalassian warships, represented by crimson triangles, moving into position around the mineral-rich asteroid belt that formed the border with Myriad territory in the Orion Spur. "They deployed 27 vessels in the last solar day," his aide, Lieutenant Alvarez, reported. "The Myriad have responded by linking their defense platforms into a unified consciousness grid." Kato rubbed his temples. Only 3 months since humanity's withdrawal from the Council, and already the carefully maintained peace was fracturing. He'd spent 15 years as military liaison to the Council and recognized the dangerous patterns forming. "The Thalassians interpret the Myriad's hive decision process as duplicitous," he explained. "They can't comprehend how a species can speak with millions of voices, yet claim to have a single position. Meanwhile, the Myriad see individual honor as irrational. They literally cannot process why a Thalassian commander might defy orders to uphold a personal code." Alvarez looked bewildered. "But these species have cooperated for centuries. How did they manage before?" "They had us," Kaido said simply. "Humans understand both perspectives. We can appreciate individual honor while recognizing collective wisdom. We mediated their interactions, translated not just their words but their cultural frameworks. On the display, a new alert flashed. Trade vessels from 17 different civilizations were altering course, avoiding the disputed region entirely. The economic impact would cascade through hundreds of systems within weeks. Cato's secure comm channel activated with a priority signal from Geneva. President Okafor's face appeared, looking grave. "Admiral, we've received formal requests for intervention from 3 minor powers caught in the Orion dispute. What's your assessment?" "It will get worse before it gets better," Cato replied. "The Thalassians and Myriad are both proud species in their different ways. Neither will back down without losing face." And the quantum rifts. Cato switched the display to show scientific telemetry from the edge of Council space. A pulsing anomaly near the Cygnus arm had doubled in size since their last measurement, exactly as our scientists predicted. Without coordinated study and containment, the rifts are expanding exponentially. Okafor nodded slowly. "Maintain observation protocols. Document everything. The Council needs to understand what they've lost." After the call ended, Cato noticed something curious in the commercial data feeds. Human diplomatic consultants were suddenly commanding premium rates throughout Council space. A diplomatic academy on Proxima Centauri that specialized in teaching human negotiation techniques was turning away applicants by the thousands. "They're starting to realize," Lieutenant Alvarez observed. "Too little, too late," Cato replied, watching another trade route go dark on the display. "The galaxy is about to learn a painful lesson about human exceptionalism by experiencing its absence." Dr. Amara Jakan's laboratory in the Himalayan Science Complex hummed with activity. 6 months had passed since humanity's withdrawal from the Council, and the quantum physics division had tripled in size. Holographic models of space-time anomalies rotated above workstations where researchers analyzed the latest data from their deep space monitoring network. Amara looked up from her calculations as her assistant hurried over. "Doctor, you have an urgent transmission from the Delveri Science Academy." The communication panel activated to reveal X-10, a Delveri physicist whose translucent tentacles trembled visibly in the holographic projection. Once Amara's colleague on the Council's Scientific Advisory Board, now a desperate messenger. "Dr. Jakande, the situation has deteriorated beyond our models." X-10's voice warbled through the translator. "The rifts are expanding exponentially. Without coordinated intervention, we face dimensional collapse within the year." Amara kept her expression neutral. The human scientific community provided extensive research on this phenomenon 6 years ago. Our containment proposals were dismissed as unnecessarily alarmist by the Council's senior science directors. Politics. X-10's tentacles coiled in frustration. The Ocrux wouldn't acknowledge any theory that implicated their ancient hyperdrive technologies. The Luminarch blocked research they deemed sacrilegious, without human mediators pushing for compromise. "And now?" Amara asked. "The Council chambers stand half empty. The Thalassian Myriad dispute has cascaded into 12 regional conflicts. The Ocrux are temporarily securing undefended trade posts with battle fleets. X-10's bioluminescence pulsed with anxiety. Will Earth reconsider its position? We need human insight." After forwarding the message to President Okafor with a simple note, "They're finally beginning to see," Amara toured the facility's manufacturing level. Engineers tested quantum shielding prototypes that could theoretically protect planetary systems from rift collapse. The same technology the Council had rejected was now humanity's best hope for survival. In her office, Amara found a recorded transmission from Centauri Prime. Secretary General Talok's formal acknowledgement of the crisis played on her screen. "We face unprecedented challenges in the absence of our human colleagues," the Ocrux admitted. Voice synthesizer pitched low in formal regret. "Perhaps we were hasty in dismissing their insights." The Council's formal request for Earth's return concluded the message. Director Park entered without knocking. "The President has decided not to respond to their plea. Instead, we're accelerating the shield deployment around all human colonies." Amara nodded. Good. They need to understand this isn't about politics or pride. Their fundamental approach is flawed. They seek perfect stability in an inherently chaotic universe. Outside her window, the Himalayan peaks stood draped in evening shadow. Amara wondered how many of the stars now appearing above would still exist in a year's time. We warned them, she whispered. Now we prepare. Geneva fell silent as the emergency broadcast interrupted daily life. President Okafor stood before the United Nations Assembly, her face grave. On the massive display behind her, the Helios binary system appeared as it had existed 1 week ago. 7 vibrant planets, 15 billion sentient beings across 3 species. Now only empty space remained where the system had been. Today marks 1 year since humanity withdrew from the Galactic Council, Okafor began. It is also the day we witnessed the consequences of ignored warnings. The quantum rift near Helios has collapsed, creating a dimensional shear that has removed an entire star system from our reality. Citizens across Earth gathered in public squares. Offices went still. Transit pods hovered in place as their occupants absorbed the news. Exactly where human scientists had predicted, exactly as they had warned. Catastrophic rift collapse had claimed its first victims. Captain Maya Osei commanded the refugee relief vessel Mercy at the edge of what was now being called the Helios Void. Her ship's sensors detected the approaching vessels before they dropped out of hyperspace. Ragged convoys of civilian craft from the Akamar Confederation, a civilization whose worlds had bordered Helios. Hailing refugee fleet. Maya transmitted. This is Earth Vessel Mercy. We stand ready to provide assistance. The response came from Admiral Lork of the Akamar Defense Force, his translator struggling with his distress. We remember how humanity governed its sector. We seek your protection. The Thalassians blame us for the collapse. The Myriad claim we harbored saboteurs. 3 neighboring systems have launched preemptive strikes against our outposts. Maya opened docking bays as her crew prepared emergency accommodations. You have Earth's protection, Admiral. Transmitting coordinates for safe harbor in the Sol system. As refugee ships continued to arrive, Maya received a priority communication from Admiral Zhang. The situation is deteriorating across 17 sectors, he reported. The Luminarch Alliance has declared a spiritual crusade against dangerous science. The Akrux are demanding tribute from minor worlds in exchange for protective services. And the Council? Maya asked. Paralyzed. Their headquarters on Centauri Prime is nearly abandoned. Most species have retreated to defensive positions around their homeworlds. That evening, Maya walked through her ship's recreation deck, now converted to refugee housing. Children from 3 species played together, while adults from worlds that had never previously cooperated shared protein rations and comfort. A young Akamar approached her. Is it true humans knew this would happen? Maya nodded. Our scientists predicted it. The Council ignored us. Why help us now? The child asked. Because that's what humans do, Maya said simply. We prepare for the worst while working for something better. It's in our nature to hold contradictions, to feel anger at those who ignored us, yet compassion for those who suffer. In the viewport beyond them, another rift pulsed at the edge of sensor range, growing larger by the hour. 18 months after humanity's withdrawal, the Mars diplomatic complex bustled with activity. Once a modest research outpost, it had transformed into the center of what alien visitors called the human alternative. Ambassador Chen walked through the central plaza where representatives of 27 species conversed in groupings that would have been unthinkable under Council protocols. A Thalassian military attaché shared refreshments with a Myriad consciousness node. Akrux scientists debated energetically with Luminar theologians. Species that had been enemies for millennia now collaborated on survival strategies. Elena met Admiral Zhang near the Quantum Rift Monitoring Station. Our visitor count has doubled again this month, she told him. The latest arrivals include 3 species that were founding members of the Council. Kato nodded, watching the diverse gathering with thoughtful eyes. They expect rigid hierarchy and find organized flexibility. It confuses them at first, then liberates them. The council believed order came from strict protocols. Alina said, "We know better." Adaptability creates resilience. A commotion near the entrance drew their attention. Secretary General Tilak himself had arrived, the Crux diplomat's 12 limbs arranged in the formal position of supplication. The once mighty leader of the Galactic Council approached with an escort of only 2 aides. Ambassador Chen, Tilak's voice synthesizer hummed with carefully modulated tones. "The rifts have multiplied beyond our capacity to monitor. Our scientists project galactic failure within 5 years." Alina maintained a neutral expression. "We provided detailed research on the rifts before our departure. The Council dismissed it as human alarmism. An error we now acknowledge." Tilak's upper limbs lowered in the Crux gesture of profound regret. "We formally request humanity's return to the Council. Your species' insight is essential for survival." Alina exchanged glances with Admiral Zhang. This moment had been anticipated in countless strategy sessions. President Okafor had authorized their response months ago, when the first Council representatives began arriving as observers. "We will not rejoin a broken system," Alina said firmly. "But we offer an alternative. Any civilization willing to embrace adaptation over tradition may send representatives to the new Concordat forming here on Mars." Tilak's translator struggled to convey the concept. "A new alliance. Outside Council authority. Not an alliance in the old sense," Alina explained. "A collaborative network built on humanity's understanding that the universe is inherently unpredictable. We don't fight chaos. We harness it." As Tilak processed this radical concept, Alina gazed through the transparent dome at the red Martian landscape, where the Council had built ornate chambers of crystalline spires on Centauri Prime. Humans had created open forums that could be reconfigured as needed. Where the Council had segregated species by biology and politics, the human alternative encouraged unexpected interactions. "Bring your proposal to your remaining colleagues," Alina told the humbled Secretary General. "The invitation remains open, but the old ways must end." Dr. Amara Jakand stood before the assembled scientists in the Mars Research Dome, surrounded by representatives from over 300 species. 2 years had passed since humanity's withdrawal from the Council, and the Terran Concordat, as the human alternative was now formally known, had grown beyond anyone's expectations. "Our combined research confirms what Earth scientists theorized 6 years ago," she announced, gesturing to the complex multidimensional model rotating above the central platform. "The quantum rifts are natural responses of spacetime itself, triggered by certain types of ancient faster-than-light travel used primarily by the eldest Council races." A ripple of murmurs passed through the gathering. An elderly Crux scientist raised several limbs in objection. "Impossible. Our hyperdrive technologies have been stable for 50,000 years. They cannot be responsible for this catastrophe." Amara nodded respectfully. "I understand your concern, Director Vexnar. That's why we're not asking you to accept our conclusion on authority." She gestured to a row of advanced laboratories visible through the transparent partition. "We've prepared facilities for your team to test the theory independently. Prove us wrong. We welcome the challenge." The Crux scientists' limbs twitched in surprise. Under Council protocols, such disagreement would have triggered months of bureaucratic review. The human invitation to immediate testing, to productive disagreement rather than enforced consensus, violated everything the ancient races understood about scientific governance. After a moment of confusion, Vexnar inclined his upper body. "We accept your challenge, Doctor." As the meeting dispersed, Admiral Zhang joined Amara near the tactical display showing the latest galactic updates. The holographic map revealed a troubling picture, while Concordat space showed as a growing region of stability. Much of the galaxy had descended into conflict. 3 major wars have erupted along the former Council's secure borders, Zhang reported. The Luminarch Alliance has begun sabotaging research stations studying the rifts, believing the end of the universe is divinely ordained. Amara studied the nearest rift projection. Our containment technologies are working within Concordat space, but we need wider implementation to prevent further collapses. Half the galaxy is still committed to failing approaches. President O'Keefe's holographic form appeared beside them, transmitted from Earth. Then we need to show them another way. Not through words, but through action. She manipulated the display to highlight key threatened regions beyond Concordat borders. We've prepared a demonstration fleet. 500 vessels of human and allied design, ready to carry our methods to the most endangered systems. Zhang nodded gravely. The bold move. Many will see it as an expansion of human influence. It's survival, not imperialism. Okafor replied. We're not conquering. We're demonstrating alternatives. As they finalized the mission parameters, a priority alert flashed on the display. A new quantum rift had appeared, ominously close to the former Council headquarters on Centauri Prime. Amara checked the readings and looked up with concern. It's growing faster than any we've documented. We may have weeks, not months. Then we launch immediately, Okafor decided. Operation Guiding Light begins now. The flagship Solar Envoy glided silently through the remnants of what had once been a thriving trade hub in the Cygnus sector. Admiral Zhang stood on the command deck, observing the fleet's deployment. 500 vessels, human and alien designs working in seamless coordination, moved into position around a pulsing quantum rift that threatened 3 inhabited systems. Stabilization teams report ready, Admiral, his executive officer announced. Unlike traditional military operations, Operation Guiding Light wasn't about conquest or even defense in the conventional sense. Each vessel carried scientists, diplomats, and engineers alongside their security personnel. Their mission: demonstrate humanity's methods for containing the rifts and resolving the conflicts that prevented coordinated response. Deploy the resonance anchors, Zhang ordered. Begin containment sequence. From the fleet, specialized vessels moved forward, extending arrays of equipment developed through Concordat collaboration. The technology, based on human theoretical models, but enhanced by insights from a dozen species, created a stabilizing field around the rift's perimeter. Captain Seto's voice came through on the command channel. Admiral, we have incoming vessels. Luminarch warships on an intercept course. Zhang nodded calmly. Hold position. Continue deployment. On the tactical display, 12 sleek vessels of the Luminarch Alliance approached rapidly. The spiritual faction had declared the rift's divine punishment and opposed all scientific interventions. They're charging weapons, Seto reported. Open a channel, Zhang ordered. When the connection established, he addressed the Luminarch commander directly. This is Admiral Zhang of the Terran Concordat. We are conducting a containment operation to prevent catastrophic rift collapse in your territory. The Luminarch commander's form shimmered with indignation on the view screen. The cleansing is ordained. Your interference violates cosmic law. Instead of arguing theology, Zhang made an unexpected offer. I invite you and your senior clerics aboard the Solar Envoy to witness our work firsthand. If you still believe we violate divine will after observing our methods, we will withdraw from your space. The commander's light form flickered in surprise. Such an invitation violated every protocol of both the defunct council and traditional military engagement. While the Luminarch deliberated, Zhang turned to Ambassador Chen, who had joined him on the command deck. Will they accept? They're curious by nature, beneath their dogma, Elena replied. And we're offering what the council never did, respect for their perspective, even while disagreeing with it. The resonance anchors activated, creating a web of energy around the rift. Its pulsing slowed visibly as the containment field took effect. Admiral, Seto reported, the Luminarch vessels are standing down. Their commander requests permission to board with 3 clerics. Zhang nodded. Prepare the observation deck and notify Dr. Jacquand. She explains the science better than anyone. As he watched the rift stabilize on the main display, Zhang allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. The Concordat approach was working, not through force or authority, but through demonstration and invitation. One system at a time, Elena said quietly beside him. This is how humanity leads, by showing, not telling. The orbital station Unity rotated serenely above Earth, its vast observation dome offering an unmatched view of humanity's homeworld. 5 years had passed since Earth's withdrawal from the Galactic Council. Ambassador Elena Chen gazed at the assembled delegates from over 800 species, the culmination of a journey no one could have predicted. We gather not in triumph, but in collaboration, she addressed the historic summit. 5 years ago, we quit because no one would listen. Today we convene not because humanity demands recognition, but because together we've proven a better way to exist among the stars. The Terran Concordat now encompassed 60% of inhabited systems. The quantum rifts were contained, their energy harnessed for revolutionary technologies. Where devastation had threatened, innovation now flourished. Secretary General Tilak of the Remnant Council rose to speak. The Crux diplomat's voice synthesizer now equipped with emotional modulation, a concession to human communication styles that would have been unthinkable years earlier. The council believed order came from rigid structure, Tilak acknowledged, 12 limbs arranged in formal humility. Humanity showed us that true stability comes from adaptability. The universe naturally tends toward change. This is the fundamental truth we fail to accept. The formal agreements established permanent cooperation between the Remnant Council and the Concordat, not a merger but a pragmatic alignment preserving the strengths of both approaches. As the proceedings concluded, Dr. Jakand found Admiral Zhang at the viewport, watching Earth rotate below. Did you ever imagine our departure would lead to this? Amara asked, joining him at the observation window. Kato smiled. Humans have always solved problems most effectively after everyone else gives up. The universe didn't fall into disorder after we left. It was always unpredictable. We just finally forced everyone to acknowledge it. Beyond them, delegates mingled freely. Species that had been bitter enemies now engaged in animated conversation. A young Thalassian officer discussed shield harmonics with a myriad consciousness node. Crux scientists debated philosophy with Luminar clerics. The rigid segregation of the old council had been replaced by unexpected connections that generated constant innovation. President Okafor joined them at the viewport. The Helios void is showing signs of dimensional restoration, she reported. The collaborative research team believes we may eventually recover what was lost. Another miracle no one thought possible, Amara remarked. Not a miracle, Elena corrected, approaching with Tilak. Just humanity's gift to the galaxy, our stubborn refusal to accept impossibility. Below them, Earth turned serenely, cradle of the species whose contradictory nature had reshaped galactic civilization, not through conquest or technological superiority, but through the uniquely human ability to embrace uncertainty as opportunity. The stars seemed brighter somehow, as if the cosmos itself approved of its new equilibrium.